Hey everybody, welcome to Psychology for Yogis with Lydia, because yogis need shrinks too. So this week we're going to talk about how do you know if you need a shrink? How do you know? What should you do? So many people have such a varied experience with therapists, coaches, yoga teachers for that matter. And so I want to give you my bias right away, which is I actually have had a really positive experience in psychotherapy, and it's probably why I believe in it so much, because I had a positive experience with it, and I got lucky. I had really good therapists as a very frayed teenager, so I feel really blessed and really lucky. But not without trying to find good ones. Like, there was some effort to find good ones. So, and that being said, like, the therapist that works for me is not the therapist that's going to be the best fit for you. Just like a yoga class, like there are some yoga teachers whose class I love going to, and some yoga teachers whose class, like, I kind of could take it or leave it, and otherwise I sort of avoid like the plague. That's fine. And I know that that's how people feel about my class. Like, some people like it, some people could take it or leave it, some people choose not to come, and they have their reasons, and that's all fine. So it's really about finding the best fit. So it doesn't mean that the yoga is bad if the student chooses not to come to your class, or if you don't want to go to that style of yoga. It doesn't mean the yoga is bad. It just means it's not the fit for you. Same thing with a therapist. It doesn't mean the therapist is like terrible if you don't like them. It just means like they're not a good fit. They're probably a fine fit for somebody else, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with either one of you. So there's baseline. Okay, so the first thing is, like, you got to check in with yourself and really be radically honest with yourself around what kind of support you're needing in your life. Like, I just personally, I think it's a little bit presumptuous to assume that we can get on our yoga mat or get on our meditation cushion and all of our problems go away. Now, it is true that the more we invest our time and our practice into mindful practices such as yoga and meditation, the more we do cultivate a sense of self-concept that allows us to withstand more broad ranges of our emotional expression, and we kind of can be our own therapist in a way. That is true, and that's a huge passion of mine to talk about that topic. I could talk about it for way more than this brief video, so I'm going to save that for another time. But just to say that it is possible to get a lot done just between you and your mat or you and your cushion. That is true. And we are relational beings. Human beings are relational. By that I mean that we are dependent on the relationships we have with other people and the relationship we have with ourselves. We don't live in isolation in general. We don't live in a cave. We live in a world with homes and apartments, shelters of some sort, where we have basic needs that need to be met. We have relationships, we have, jobs, we have activities, all these things happening. And by and large, they're either in relationship to other people or other things, or they're in relationship to ourselves. That's kind of how we are as relational beings. So most of the healing that we can do for ourselves happens relationally. Even in the example of just the yoga mat or the meditation cushion, that's still a relational dynamic between you and this activity that brings you closer back to the relationship with yourself. So there's still something dynamic happening. It's not like spontaneous combustion towards all problems are, fixed, or spontaneous combustion towards samadhi. It's like there is some kind of dynamic relationship happening, even if it's only in reference to yourself or a rubber mat or something like that. So sometimes, a lot of times, the pain that we feel needs to really be witnessed, held, co-participated in by a third party. Not your friend who's going to always take your side or always take the other person's side. Not your yoga teacher, because they're there to teach you yoga. Not your high school gym teacher who is there to teach high school gym, but like we need a third party that we pay, basically, in some way we exchange with them, to hear us out, to teach us skills, to help us navigate these very tricky waters inside our psyche. This is not to say that the really good friend, the gym teacher, the yoga teacher, can't at moments be a therapeutic ally. Like at certain points in time, that teacher might step into a more therapeutic role. Like they might do some counseling. I mean, I had a figure skating coach that was like, I had a therapist at the time, but she happened to, my skating coach was like, it was like being in a therapy session. But it wasn't because she was being my therapist. It was because she was coaching me through my life. She was coaching me through my sport of choice. She was an ally in my life, and that was inherently therapeutic to me, okay? So the gym coach could be like that. The yoga teacher can at times be like that. Sometimes a student might confide something in you, and you could take on that role of coach or therapist, just so long as that it's momentary, okay? That it's confined to a small amount of space. When you find that you're like always in that role with someone, then that's when I would start to advise you to hand them off to a therapist, to someone who can really work with them, and to really question what they need from, or what they're hoping for in their relationship with you. And also with the other example I gave with the friend, like sometimes I have a girlfriend call me and be like, okay, like I need 10 minutes and I need you to totally therapize me right now. But like the grand scheme of our relationship is this friendship. But like for 10 minutes, it's like, okay, go. Like resource me, integrate me, help me out here. And that's cool. That's appropriate. But what's the grand picture, right? So sometimes you might have an experience of an extreme loss in your life. That would be indicative of probably needing some third-party support. Or you are re-experiencing a traumatic experience in your life. Or you are encountering addiction issues. Or you are encountering keep rubbing up against something in your life about yourself or about a relationship in yourself that you can't quite understand, that you can't quite only resolve through yoga, that you can't quite only resolve through talking to a friend. That would be, okay, like, shrink sounds like a good idea. Okay, these things that require a little more support than what we can just manage on our own. That's when I start to, think like, okay, therapists could be involved. I guess what I really want to share with you is like, one of my big missions is getting the shame we have around going to the therapist, like way down. There are people who go to therapists because they have a severe addiction or because they are suicidal. And there are people who go to therapists because they want to explore their inner landscape, and it's very hard to go there without someone kind of holding the tether a little bit. Personally, that's why I continue to go, is like I really benefit from someone helping to hold the tether, and I can go in there and look around. And while I'm not dealing with acute symptomology, pathological symptoms at the moment, to me, the experience of exploring all the varied capacities of what it is to be human is really important, really valuable, and I put a lot of time and money into it. And frankly, I have clients who come for that. And I have clients who come because of a very specific issue. So you don't have to have a very specific issue to want to go to a therapist. You could want to be better at being you, and that would be great. And it's wonderful to have it from various angles. Like, yeah, get it from yoga. Yeah, get it through your nutrition. Yeah, get it through your partner. Yeah, get it through your dance practice. Yeah, get it through therapy. And there's so many different kinds of therapists out there. I'm a body-centered therapist, a somatic therapist. There are programs around cognitive behavioral therapy. There are short-term therapy models that work on very specific issues. One of my favorites is motivational interviewing. There's, traditional Freudian psychoanalysis. There's all these different kinds, and it's really about finding the right fit for you and finding the right therapist for you if you're interested. And I really hope that this inspires you a little bit to do some research. So, hope that opens the door a little bit. Hope that helps, and I hope that me just talking to you kind of casually about this helps to take some of the anxiety and the stigma about going to the shrink down a little bit. I'd be out of a job if people didn't want to go to the shrink. And I love going to see my therapist. I get so much out of it. My marriage benefits so much. My yoga practice benefits so much. What I love, one of the things I love the most is like letting my yoga be my yoga. And it's like, if something comes up, I know I have a time and a place where I can analyze it or dive into it and explore it. And it's not like the yoga practice is all I have, so I'm putting all my eggs in that bucket. It's like I can just enjoy the movement for the sake of the movement and like dive into deep asana when I'm practicing, and then take some of that off the mat into the therapist's office when it's appropriate. So if you have questions, concerns, interests, needs around this topic, and you're looking for some navigation, like even a recommendation, please email me. I'd love to hear from you. It's lgsyoga@gmail.com. I have tons of resources that I'd be happy to send your way. Or if you feel willing, post a comment here, and I'd be happy to share some of them publicly. Because one question that one person has, other people have. And so let's start building resources together. And if you liked this video or know someone who could benefit from it, share it, tweet it, all that good stuff. So hope this helps, and see you next time.